Is this the main reason that Prime Minister already named you as man of ideas?
When I first met the Prime Minister, that is before he became Prime Minister, he was at that time contesting the election, leading the election. He was at that time Chief Minister. When he met me for the first time, he said, man of ideas, ace debater. So, what prompted him to say that, I cannot say.
Okay, sir, if I would come to Bengal related to lots of issues. First, I am going to ask you regarding the universities, and still in lots of universities, not permanent vice chancellors are there. What is the reason and what is the way out?
See, the vice chancellors in Bengal, when I took over, were appointed by the government. The Supreme Court struck it down. Supreme Court, not in this particular case, Supreme Court took the stand that vice chancellors should be selected through a search cum selection committee as per law. Those who are appointed otherwise under that process had no right to continue. So when I came here, I called the vice chancellors and told them, as far as my understanding goes of the Supreme Court judgment, you are not competent to continue further. None of your fault, but that's a Supreme Court judgment. So you have an option, either to resign, or I have an option to terminate your services. Certainly I will give you sufficient notice and opportunity of being heard. They asked for some time. After about half an hour, vice chancellors came and told me, we know that as per the Supreme Court judgment we cannot continue, so we are resigning. They all resigned. Then I started appointing what is called interim vice chancellors. Actually it is authorizing anybody to discharge the functions of the vice chancellor during the time when a vice chancellor is not there. That has really given vice chancellors to all the universities here. Then the state government went in litigation. The Calcutta High Court upheld the chancellor's authority to appoint vice chancellors. This was again challenged in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, search cum selection committee for selection of vice chancellors will be set up by the Supreme Court itself, under the chairmanship of Justice U.U. Lalit, who was a former CJI of India. Committee has been set up. The committee has given the names. 19 vice chancellors have been appointed. In the case of the others, some reservations I had found based on facts and figures. So I objected to that. That is before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court further asked the same committee to select again. That selection process, I understand, is over. Now the Supreme Court has to decide. And then once the decision comes from the Supreme Court, all universities will be having regular vice chancellors.